If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. That's the real truth. If you don't take full command of your own life, life will make the decisions for you. And it won't be kind about it. It will hand you leftovers. It will hand you regret. Today, I want to talk to you about something most people ignore until it's too late: full commitment and real self-control. Most people are good at starting. They're good at talking. But they are not good at staying steady when things get uncomfortable. They let emotions take over. They let distractions pull them away. And slowly they teach life to stop offering them serious opportunities. Not because they weren't smart enough, but because they weren't steady enough. Your future is being shaped right now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now, it's shaped by whether you control your actions or you let your moods control you. It's shaped by whether you finish what you start, whether you stay loyal to your own goals long after the excitement wears off. Full commitment is not about being perfect. It's about being serious. It's about deciding that your life matters enough to stay with it, even when it's tough. In this video, we're going to break it down, step by step. You'll see why controlling yourself is the key to building a life that actually works. No guessing, no gambling, just real, solid work that leads to real, solid results. Stay locked in. If you take this seriously, today could be the day everything starts to change. It's time for full commitment. It's time to control yourself before life controls you. And it starts right now. Number 1, self-control is not a talent, it's a requirement. Self-control is not something you hope for. It's not something that shows up because you wish it. It's something you have to work on, day after day. It's not about being gifted. It's not about luck. It's about personal responsibility. It's about standing up and saying, I'm in charge of my own life. Without it, nothing gets built. Without it, good intentions stay intentions. Without it, promises fade. It's the basic foundation that every success is built on. You don't learn self-control by reading about it. You don't get it handed to you at birth. It doesn't come automatically because you want better things. It comes when you practice small disciplines every day. It comes when you tell yourself, this matters and I will follow through. It's the ability to keep your word when it's easy and when it's not. It's the ability to stay steady when the excitement is gone. It's what keeps you moving when there's no applause, no attention, and no reward yet in sight. Most people lose not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do it. Knowledge is everywhere. Wisdom is everywhere. But it's the man or woman who controls themselves and acts on what they know who sees the real changes. It's easy to start strong. It's easy to announce your goals. But it's harder to stick to them when the days get long. It's harder to stay focused when new distractions show up. That's where self-control steps in. It holds the line. It reminds you of what you said you wanted when you were thinking clearly. Discipline is what saves you from your own worst habits. It's the quiet voice that says, do it anyway when your feelings say, take a break. It's the standard you set with yourself, even if no one else knows or cares. You don't practice discipline because someone is watching. You do it because you respect yourself enough to follow through. You do it because you know that if you don't lead yourself, nobody else will. Self-control is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about saying, this is who I want to be, and lining up your actions to match. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. A misstep now and then doesn't destroy your future. Giving up does. Excusing yourself too many times does. It's the daily choices, not the occasional big ones, that decide where you end up. Life doesn't always give you what you want. It gives you what you are willing to work for. It gives you what you have prepared for. And preparation requires self-control. You have to be willing to delay pleasure now for a better reward later. You have to be willing to say no to good things because you are after something great. And that's not easy. It's not natural. It's built by decision. It's built by action. It's built by reminding yourself that every small choice matters. You don't have to be the most talented person in the room. You don't have to be the fastest learner. But you do have to be steady. You have to be serious about your goals. You have to decide that your word to yourself is not something you casually break. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you get stronger. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your own belief. And belief is critical. Without belief, effort fades. Without belief, commitment weakens. Belief grows when discipline is strong. Nobody is going to hand you a better life. No one is going to come along and make you successful without your own work. It's your habits, your choices, your attitude. Every day you either feed your strength or you feed your weakness. Every decision either moves you forward or holds you back. Self-control keeps you moving forward, even when it's uncomfortable. It keeps you building, even when it's easier to drift. It keeps you strong when everything around you says to take it easy. Some people wait for motivation to strike before they act. They wait for the right feeling. But feelings are unreliable. They change with the weather. They change with sleep. They change with what somebody else says. You cannot build a future on feelings. You have to build it on principles. You have to build it on decisions made when you are clear about what you want. Discipline is not about feeling ready. It's about acting because you said you would. It's easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. It's easy to say, I'm tired today. It's easy to make small exceptions. And one by one, those small exceptions add up. They don't seem like much at first. A little wasted time here. A little broken promise there. But over time, the cost is heavy. Time lost. Energy lost. Opportunities lost. Self-control is the guard against that slow loss. It's what keeps you on track when comfort calls louder than commitment. Think about where you are today. Think about the habits that brought you here. Think about the decisions you made without even thinking. Now realize that where you go next depends on what you choose next. Not next year. Not next month. Today. Right now. Big goals are nothing without small actions. And small actions only happen when you control yourself enough to follow through. You build your future one small discipline at a time. You build your confidence one kept promise at a time. You build your character by doing what you said you would do. Even after the excitement is gone. There's no magic. There's no shortcut. There's only you deciding that your future matters enough to earn it. When you control yourself, you take back your power. You stop blaming, you stop waiting. You stop hoping somebody else will make it easier. You accept that the responsibility is yours. And when you live that way, life gets better. Not easier, better. More meaningful, more rewarding. More satisfying because you know you earned it. The best part about discipline is that every day you practice it, it gets stronger. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You don't have to change everything in a day. You start small. You build small wins. You keep stacking them until your habits are stronger than your moods. Until your standards are higher than your excuses. Until your life is running on principles, not on feelings. Self-control is not extra credit. It's not optional. It's the price you pay to get where you say you want to go. It's the bridge between your hopes and your reality. And you can build it. You can start today. You can start now. No one is stopping you but you. And if you can master yourself, you will be amazed at how much more you can master everything else. Because success at its core is not about chance. It's about choice. And choice takes discipline. You don't have to be the best to start. You don't have to have everything figured out. But you do have to be serious. You do have to mean it. You do have to decide that your future is worth the discipline it takes. And once you decide that, everything begins to change. Little by little, step by step, until one day you realize you didn't just hope for a better life. You built it. Number 2, every act of self-control is a step toward real freedom. Freedom is not given. Freedom is earned. And it's not earned by chance. It's earned by practicing small disciplines. Every time you control yourself, you take a step toward real freedom. That's how it works. It's not the big speeches. It's not the big plans. It's the quiet little choices you make every day that decide if you're moving closer to the life you want or further away from it. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want whenever you feel like it. That's not freedom. That's the start of problems. Freedom comes from having the strength to do what you should do when you should do it. It comes from knowing that you can depend on yourself. It comes from living by principle, not by pressure. It comes from building habits that serve you, not habits that control you. When you control yourself, you stay in charge. You control your time. You control your money. You control your health. You control your progress. You don't hand those things over to circumstances. You don't wait for someone else to come fix your life. You take charge, and you keep charge. And that's where the real pride begins. Think about it. How do people lose their freedom? Little by little. Small, undisciplined choices. Spend a little too much. Eat a little too much. Put off a little too much. Tell themselves it doesn't matter. Tell themselves they'll fix it later. And one day they look around and realize they're stuck. Not because they didn't know better, but because they didn't control themselves when it counted. But the good news is, it works the other way too. You gain freedom little by little. Small disciplined choices. Save a little today. Study a little today. Do what you said you would do today. Choose the right thing today. And tomorrow you're a little stronger. Next week you're a little freer. Next year you're living a different life. It's not about being perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's about caring enough to keep improving. It's about making yourself a little stronger every day. A little smarter. A little steadier. Self-control is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more freedom you earn. Real freedom is not having no rules. It's having the right rules. Rules that protect your future. Rules that help you build the life you want. And you write those rules for yourself. You don't need someone standing over you. You don't need someone reminding you every day. You decide for yourself what matters. And you live by that. There's nothing easy about it. It's easier to drift. It's easier to blame. It's easier to let things slide. But none of that leads to freedom. It leads to regret. It leads to frustration. It leads to a life that feels out of your control. And once you know that, you can't pretend anymore. You either step up and take control, or you step aside and live with the consequences. Every act of self-control is a small victory, a quiet win. And over time, enough quiet wins stack up into a life you can be proud of. Every time you tell yourself no to the wrong thing, you say yes to a better future. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you strengthen your character. Every time you stick to your plan instead of your mood, you add another brick to the foundation of your success. Some people are looking for the big move, the magic moment, the one breakthrough that will change everything overnight. But that's not how life works. Life changes through steady work. Life changes when you stack one good decision on top of another until your whole lifestyle looks different than it did before. It's not dramatic. It's not flashy. But it's real. And it lasts. And here's the truth. If you can't lead yourself, you won't lead much else. If you can't trust yourself to do what you said you would do, why would anyone else trust you? Leadership starts inside. Confidence starts inside. Respect starts inside. And it grows every time you control your actions instead of letting your actions control you. It's not always easy. There are days when discipline feels heavy. Days when temptation feels strong. Days when excuses sound reasonable. That's part of it. You can't avoid those days. But you can decide ahead of time what you'll do when they come. You can decide that your standards mean more to you than your feelings. You can decide that your future matters more than your mood. It's a simple choice, but it's not an easy one. It's the daily, repeated choice to honor your word, to do the work, to take the small steps, to resist the shortcuts, to build yourself stronger on purpose. You don't need to be perfect to have a better life. You just need to be disciplined enough, long enough to tip the scale. You need to build just enough momentum to move yourself from stuck to steady, from steady to strong, from strong to free. Freedom is not found by chance. It's built by self-control. You build it in the morning when you get up on time. You build it in the afternoon when you stay focused instead of distracted. You build it at night when you finish the work, even if you're tired. You build it every time you prove to yourself that you are serious about the life you want. And little by little, one right choice at a time, the life you build becomes a life you can respect, a life you can enjoy, a life where you are not pushed around by circumstances, a life where you are not trapped by habits you regret, a life where you are free, not because everything is easy, but because you chose to stay in charge of yourself. That is real freedom. And it starts now. It starts with the next decision you make. It starts with the next promise you keep. It starts by saying to yourself, I'm going to earn it. And when you earn it, nobody can take it from you. Because you didn't wish for it. You didn't borrow it. You built it. Number 3, weakness grows when you break small promises. You know, it's not the big failures that ruin most people's lives. It's the small promises they keep breaking with themselves, over and over. That's how weakness grows. Not in a loud moment, not with some major collapse. It starts when you say you'll do something small and then you don't. You tell yourself it's nothing, that it doesn't matter. But deep down it does. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, even a small one, you start chipping away at your confidence, at your self-respect, at your ability to trust yourself. And that's dangerous. Because when you no longer trust yourself, discipline becomes a struggle. And without discipline, you fall behind. It's easy to think that skipping one task, one day, one habit isn't a big deal. And maybe it isn't just once. But what you have to watch for is the pattern. What you tolerate once, you tend to tolerate again. Then it becomes normal. Then it becomes automatic. And before long, you're no longer aiming high. You're just surviving. You're not building anything anymore. You're maintaining. And maintenance without direction leads to decline. What does a small promise look like? It's not complicated. It's the plan you made the night before. It's the goal you said you'd follow through on today. It's the routine you committed to. It's the reading you promised yourself you'd complete. It's finishing the last 5 minutes of your workout instead of walking away early. It's calling that one person you've been putting off. These may seem like minor actions, but the moment you walk away from them, you're not just skipping a task, you're telling yourself your word doesn't mean much. And that's the seed of weakness. Strong people don't have perfect days. They don't always feel great. But they build the habit of honoring their own word, especially when no one is watching. That's what makes the difference. That's where character is built. Not on the stage, not in front of the world, but behind closed doors. When you said you'd get up at 6 and you get up. When you said you'd eat right, and you do. When you said you'd finish the job, and you close it out. These aren't dramatic moments. These are quiet, private victories that shape who you become. Weakness, on the other hand, has a quiet voice too. It says, just skip it today. It says, no one will notice. It says, you've been working hard, take it easy. And the first time you listen, you may not feel the consequences. That's what makes it dangerous. Because if nothing bad happens immediately, you start believing there is no cost. But the cost is there. It's inside you. You begin to question your own seriousness. You lose momentum, and little by little your standards drop. It's not just about the task itself. It's about the principle. If you let yourself slide in the small areas, it becomes easier to slide in bigger ones. If you break small promises, eventually you'll break big ones too. You don't fail all at once. You fail in stages. You fail by weakening your structure. And your structure is made of the promises you keep. What you do consistently tells the truth about you, not what you say, not what you wish, but what you follow through on, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the real scoreboard. And the reason this matters so much is because every promise you keep builds strength, builds credibility, builds power. You don't need permission for that. You don't need an audience. You just need honesty, discipline, self-respect. And self-respect is not a switch you flip. It's earned. It's built slowly. It's rebuilt when you've let it slip. And that work starts by honoring your word in small ways. It starts by looking at yourself and saying, enough is enough. I will not keep disappointing myself over and over. Okay. That's when you begin to turn weakness into strength. Now, I'm not saying you'll never slip again. I'm not saying you have to be perfect. But I am saying you must catch yourself when it happens. Don't explain it away. Don't normalize it. Just address it. Fix it. Don't let small promises slide for too long, because the longer you delay correcting it, the more it becomes a part of you. One of the best things you can do for your growth is to keep a list of the promises you make to yourself, even the small ones. Write them down. Review them. Track whether you followed through. And when you see a pattern where you keep backing out, fix it. Don't ignore it. Don't hope it changes. Get serious. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. Growth isn't about more information. It's about better follow through. And here's something else you need to remember. When you keep small promises, it builds momentum. It gets easier to take on bigger challenges. You feel better. You walk taller. You speak differently. You think differently. That's not hype. That's reality. Because you're no longer carrying around guilt. You're not battling with yourself anymore. You're aligned. You're clear. And clarity builds power. But when you're constantly breaking your word, even in small things, you carry that weight around all day. You know when you've let yourself down. You may not say it out loud, but it's there. Made in the way you speak, in the way you avoid the mirror, in the way you make excuses. That's the burden of weakness. And it doesn't go away until you fix the cause, the broken promises. So the message is simple. Don't underestimate the small promises. Treat them seriously. Keep them. Show yourself you can be counted on. That's how you rebuild your strength. That's how you earn back your momentum. And that's how you start shaping a future that doesn't feel out of control anymore. Your habits are your responsibility. Your standards are your decision. And the good news is you can change all of it starting today. Not by talking about it. Not by making a big announcement. But by quietly keeping the next small promise you make. That's how strength grows. That's how confidence comes back. That's how you take back control. Number 4, temporary feelings must not override permanent goals. One of the greatest mistakes people make is letting how they feel today ruin what they said they wanted long term. And it happens fast. You make a promise to yourself. You say you're serious. You commit. But then a rough day shows up. You're tired. You're annoyed. Something unexpected happens. And suddenly the discipline fades. The decision weakens. And the feeling wins. That's the trap. That's how dreams are delayed. How progress stalls. How goals start to disappear not because of failure, but because of a feeling. Feelings are real. But feelings are not reliable. They're temporary. They shift with your environment. They change based on how much sleep you got, what someone said to you, what you ate, how your morning went, what the weather's like. You can't let something that's fragile dictate your direction. You can't trust short-term emotion to guide long-term goals. That's not wise. That's not solid. That's not how serious people live. You don't build a strong life by giving your mood the steering wheel. You build it by making choices that honor your values and following through regardless of how you feel in the moment. You work out when you're tired. You study when you're distracted. You show up when it's not fun. You keep your word when no one would blame you for skipping. That's what builds strength. That's what builds character. And that's what builds a future. The truth is, everyone feels like quitting. Everyone hits low energy days. Everyone has moments of frustration. But the people who grow through those moments are the ones who remind themselves of what really matters. They go back to their standards. They remember why they started. And they follow through anyway. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just 10 more minutes. Sometimes it's just finishing the task. But every one of those choices adds up. Every one of them takes you closer to your goal or further away. You have to ask yourself, do I want relief today or results over time? That question alone can recenter you. Because the comfort you choose in the moment often takes away from the reward you were building. If you want to live a better life, you must be willing to feel discomfort now in order to avoid regret later. Temporary feelings are loud, but they pass. Regret is quiet, and it stays with you. And I'll tell you something, most of what you regret won't be the big decisions. It'll be the small ones. The times you gave in. The days you chose comfort over commitment. The moments you didn't show up when you said you would. Discipline isn't about doing the hard thing every single time without fail. It's about understanding that your emotions can't always be trusted. It's about learning to pause before reacting, to check in with your goals before changing your direction. It's about noticing the voice in your head that wants to take the easy path and choosing not to listen to it. That's maturity. That's leadership. And it starts with self-awareness. You know what's interesting? The most successful people you know are not the ones who always felt inspired. They're not the ones who always felt motivated. They're the ones who acted based on commitment, not emotion. They built systems. They stuck to routines. They did what they said they would do. And they repeated it enough times that results started showing up, not because they felt like it, but because they built consistency. And consistency doesn't come from feelings. It comes from structure. It comes from choice. If you want to know where you'll end up in the next 5 years, look at what you do on the days when you feel off. The days when it's easier to skip the work, easier to lower the standard, easier to delay the progress. That's where the gap grows. That's where goals die. But it's also where they're saved. Because every time you don't give in, you earn strength. You earn pride. And eventually that becomes momentum. The danger is this: if you keep letting temporary feelings win, those decisions become habits. You start teaching yourself that it's okay to quit when things are uncomfortable. That it's okay to lower your standard when things aren't perfect. And if you repeat that long enough, your goals adjust downward without you realizing it. You don't aim high anymore. You settle. And worst of all, you justify it. That's how people drift for years. Not because they didn't want more, but because they kept trading it for what felt easier in the moment. So what's the answer? Keep your goals in sight daily. Remind yourself why they matter. Write them down. Just review them. Speak them. Build them into your habits. Because if you don't keep your goals close, your feelings will take over. And your feelings don't care about your future. They care about now. But your goals, your real ones, they care about what kind of person you're becoming. When you feel like backing off, slow down but don't stop. When you feel like quitting, pause but don't change the target. When you feel like you've had enough, ask yourself, is this emotion true or is it temporary? Most of the time, it's just passing through. You'll feel different tomorrow. But if you change direction every time your mood changes, you'll never finish anything that matters. That's a hard truth, but it's a necessary one. Now, I'm not saying ignore your feelings. I'm saying put them in the right place, acknowledge them. But don't give them authority over your future. Use them to inform you, but not to lead you. You were made to lead yourself. And leadership doesn't mean you always feel great. It means you always stay steady. There's something powerful about making a choice once and sticking to it. Something freeing about not having to renegotiate with yourself every morning. You don't have to ask yourself if you feel like showing up. You show up because you already decided. You show up because the goal matters. And you don't let short-term emotion rewrite your long-term vision. This is how you separate yourself from the crowd. This is how you rise while others fall behind. By doing the things you said you'd do long after the mood you said them in has passed. By being the kind of person who honors your plan, not your feelings. And by understanding that growth is built when you choose principle over comfort. If you build this habit, everything changes. You'll start to trust yourself more. You'll start seeing results stack up. You'll start feeling strong. Not because life got easier, but because you got better. And better is what you've always been capable of. Don't let your mood get in the way of that. Stay focused. Stay firm. And don't let anything temporary interfere with what's meant to last. Number 5. Full commitment means saying no to distractions. Commitment is not proven by what you say. It's proven by what you're willing to walk away from. It's easy to say you're serious when nothing is pulling you off track. But the real test comes when the distractions show up. And they always do. Opportunities to waste time. Opportunities to give less than your best. Opportunities to get pulled into other people's noise. That's where commitment either gets stronger or weaker. It's the choices you make when you're surrounded by distractions that show what you really value. Most people think distractions are harmless. They think it's just one afternoon lost. One conversation wasted. One evening spent on things that don't matter. But distractions are not neutral. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you're saying no to your real goals. You are trading what matters most for what matters now. And the cost doesn't show up all at once. It shows up slowly, in missed opportunities, in lost momentum, in projects unfinished, and potential never reached. Distractions are not accidents. They are part of life. They are tests. And if you don't prepare yourself to say no to them, they will quietly take away what you were building. Full commitment means you understand this. Full commitment means you protect your focus like it's your future, because it is. Full commitment means you have learned to say no without apology, without guilt, and without second-guessing yourself. You can't be serious about your future if you're casual about your focus. You can't build something meaningful if you keep giving your energy to everything that calls your name. The world is full of noise, full of entertainment, full of distractions dressed up as opportunities. If you say yes to everything, you end up with nothing solid. If you chase every new thing, you don't finish the important thing you started. If you allow yourself to get pulled every time someone calls, every time a new idea pops up, every time you feel bored, you don't just waste time, you waste yourself. Commitment is a line you draw. It's the ability to say, this is my path, and anything that doesn't move me forward gets a no. It's not about being rude, it's not about being cold. It's about being serious, it's about understanding that you only get so much time and you can't afford to live distracted. Serious people know that distractions aren't just interruptions. They are enemies to progress. And the faster you learn to say no, the faster you start building momentum that lasts. There's a simple truth that most people don't like to face: you cannot do it all. You cannot please everyone. You cannot chase every shiny thing and still expect to achieve mastery. You have to choose. You have to be willing to disappoint some people so you don't disappoint yourself. You have to be willing to be misunderstood sometimes. You have to be willing to stand alone for a while. Full commitment demands it. And if you're not ready to do that, you're not ready for what you say you want. Saying no is one of the most powerful skills you will ever learn. No to wasting hours scrolling through nonsense. No to gossip and drama. No to invitations that don't fit your mission. No to habits that drain your energy instead of build it. No to second-guessing yourself every time a distraction feels easier than discipline. Saying no is not selfish. It's survival. It's focus. It's leadership. When you start living like this, people will notice. Some will respect it. Some won't understand it. Some will pressure you to go back to being casual, back to being easygoing, back to giving your time to things that don't build anything real. You can't let their opinions set your standard. You have to remember why you started. You have to remember what's at stake. Your future isn't built by their approval. It's built by your decisions. There will always be more distractions. As you grow, they don't go away, they just get bigger, louder, fancier. The stakes get higher. The temptations get stronger. And the danger is thinking you've already made it. That now you can relax. That now you can afford to get casual. But the truth is, the more you achieve, the more important it becomes to protect what you've built. The distractions are still waiting. The question is whether you are still committed. Commitment isn't proven in the first week when everything feels new and exciting. Commitment is proven in the 20th week, the 30th week, when the excitement has worn off and the real work feels heavy. Commitment is proven when the easier option is calling your name and you choose to stay the course anyway. When you choose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. When you stay focused not because you feel like it, but because you promised yourself you would. The real rewards are reserved for those who can say no when it matters most. For those who have trained themselves to see distractions for what they are, not opportunities, but obstacles. For those who value their vision enough to protect it from the daily noise. You can tell how serious a person is by how well they manage their attention. Serious people guard their time. They guard their focus. They treat distractions like enemies. Not because they're paranoid, but because they're disciplined. And here's the truth most people avoid. Your competition is not beating you because they're better. They're beating you because they're less distracted. They show up every day. They do the small things that build into big things. They say no to the wrong invitations so they can say yes to the right future. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's discipline. It's commitment. If you want to live differently, you have to think differently. You have to be willing to let some things go. You have to be willing to miss out on what doesn't matter so you can build what does. You have to stop apologizing for protecting your focus. You have to start living like your future depends on what you say yes and no to, because it does. Every yes is a no to something else. Every no is a yes to something greater. Choose carefully. Choose wisely. And choose like your future depends on it, because it truly does. Number 6. You can't control the world, but you can control your response. There's a simple truth about life that we all have to learn sooner or later. You can't control the world. You can't control what people say. You can't control what they do. You can't control every circumstance that shows up at your door. You can prepare. You can plan. You can hope for the best. But still, life has a way of bringing surprises, both good and bad. The quicker you understand that, the quicker you take back your real power. Because even though you can't control the world, you can always control your response. And in the end, that's what matters most. It's not the events themselves that shape you. It's what you do about them. It's how you interpret them. It's how you react when things don't go your way. Two people can face the same situation. One grows stronger, one grows bitter. One steps up, one shuts down. Same event, it's a different response. And that small difference in response makes a lifetime of difference in results. Life is full of things you didn't ask for. Disappointments, setbacks, betrayals, unexpected problems. But the question is never, why is this happening to me? That question doesn't help you. It traps you. It weakens you. The real question is, what will I do about it? Because that's where your real freedom lives. In your decisions. In your responses. in your choices. You have no control over whether the storm comes, but you have full control over whether you build shelter. You have no control over how others treat you, but you have complete control over whether you let their words define you. You can't stop problems from knocking at your door, but you can decide whether you open the door with strength or with fear. Some people spend their whole lives blaming circumstances, blaming the weather, blaming the economy, blaming the past, blaming other people. And you can do that if you want. You can live your whole life in reaction to the world around you, but it won't change anything. The circumstances won't ask for your permission before showing up. Life won't pause just because you feel upset. Life moves forward with or without your approval. So the best decision you can make is to move forward too. Strength is not found in controlling everything around you. Strength is found in controlling yourself, in controlling your attitude, controlling your words, controlling your actions when emotions run high. That's what separates strong lives from fragile ones. It's not that strong people avoid problems. It's that they manage their response so well that problems don't destroy them. They bend, but they don't break. They hurt, but they don't quit. They feel frustration, but they don't let it drive them off course. Your response is your power. And the beautiful part is, nobody can take that from you. They can insult you, but they can't make you lose your dignity. They can challenge you, but they can't make you lose your principles. They can hurt you, but they can't take away your ability to respond with strength and wisdom. Imagine how your life changes when you take full responsibility for your reactions. Imagine how much calmer you become when you stop giving your peace away every time something small goes wrong. Imagine how much more focus you gain when you stop handing your energy to things you can't control. That's not weakness. That's not denial. That's mastery. That's leadership. First of yourself, then of your life. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose who you become because of it. You can choose to learn. You can choose to adjust. You can choose to grow. You can choose to stay steady while others lose their way. You can choose patience when frustration is the easier option. You can choose persistence when quitting would feel good in the moment but cost you later. That's real strength. That's the strength that builds real lives. The truth is, most people exhaust themselves trying to fix what's outside, trying to force things to go their way, trying to change people who don't want to change, trying to make life fair. But the wisest people know that the real work is inside. It's staying calm in chaos, staying clear when emotions are high, staying disciplined when distractions show up. The real work is managing your own mind, your own words, your own behavior, because that's the only ground you truly control. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice controlling your response, the more life starts to open up. Opportunities come more clearly into view. Relationships improve. Respect grows. Not because everything around you changed, but because you changed. You stopped wasting energy on what doesn't serve you. You stopped reacting to every little thing. You stopped chasing fairness and started building strength. And strength attracts good things. It clears the path for growth, for peace, for progress. Understand this: control over yourself is not something you're born with. It's a skill. And like every skill, it's built one choice at a time. It's built when you take a breath before you speak, when you pause before you react, when you act out of wisdom, not anger, when you choose principle over impulse. And every time you do that, you become a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more solid. The storms will keep coming. The noise will keep rising. The challenges will keep showing up. You can't stop that. You don't need to. You don't have to wish for a lighter load. You have to wish for a stronger back. And you build that back by practicing self-control every day. The next time something doesn't go your way, remember, this is the test. This is the moment you get to choose. Will you react in weakness or respond in strength? Will you get pulled into the chaos or stay centered? Will you spend your energy trying to change what you can't control? Or will you invest it in changing what you can? Your future doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It depends on better choices. And those choices are in your hands right now. Not tomorrow. Not next year, now. You can't control the world, but you can control your response. And that makes all the difference. Number 7, discipline is doing the necessary, not the easy. Discipline doesn't mean doing what's easy. It never did. Discipline means doing what's necessary, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unpopular, even when it's inconvenient. That's the difference between people who make progress and people who stay stuck. People who only do what feels good when it feels good don't get far. They stay on the surface. They stay where it's comfortable. But the ones who practice real discipline, they dig deeper. They show up whether they feel like it or not. They do the hard work because they know the hard work is what builds real results. If you only work when you feel like it, you're not disciplined, you're lucky. You're depending on the right mood, the right weather, the right conversation, the right energy. But life doesn't hand you perfect conditions. Life demands you show up ready, even when conditions are wrong, even when you're tired, even when it's raining, even when nobody's clapping for you. That's where real discipline shows itself, not when everything is easy, but when everything feels heavy and you move forward anyway. People like to talk about motivation. They like to chase inspiration. They like to get excited about new ideas. But discipline isn't built in the excitement. It's built in the repetition. It's built in the daily decision to do the work even when no one is watching, even when it feels slow, even when the results aren't showing yet. Discipline is doing the necessary things over and over until the necessary things become a part of you. It's brushing your teeth not because you're excited about it, but because it's necessary. It's showing up to work not because you feel like the hero today, but because that's your responsibility. It's handling your health, your money, your habits, because these things shape your life, whether you're in the mood for it or not. Easy is what calls you when you're tired. Easy is what tempts you when you're stressed. Easy looks good in the moment. It feels safe. It feels comfortable. But easy doesn't lead to anything lasting. Easy leads to excuses. Easy leads to regret. Easy leads to wasted potential. The necessary things, the hard conversations, the steady daily work, the uncomfortable changes, that's what leads to pride. That's what leads to progress. That's what builds a future you can respect. When you commit to doing the necessary things, you build a different relationship with yourself. You start seeing yourself as someone who can be counted on, someone who follows through, someone who doesn't need to be forced, someone who leads themselves. That's real self-respect. And self-respect isn't built by doing easy things. It's built by choosing to rise above the easy temptation, again and again. The discipline to do what's necessary is rare because it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple to understand that saving money today is better than spending it on junk. It's simple to understand that preparing for tomorrow is smarter than gambling on luck. It's simple to understand that small daily work beats occasional big efforts. But simple doesn't mean easy. The mind looks for shortcuts. The body looks for comfort. The emotions look for relief. And every day you have to rise above that and act on what's necessary, not what's convenient. The more you live by necessity instead of ease, the stronger you become. Stronger not just in body, but in mind. Stronger not just in energy, but in character. You stop flinching at the small difficulties. You stop making excuses for little failures. You stop looking for sympathy every time things get tough. Because you know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. And you understand that the rewards of discipline are so much greater than the fake rewards of temporary ease. It's easy to talk yourself into comfort. It's easy to tell yourself that today doesn't matter, that tomorrow you'll be better, that next week you'll have more energy. But those lies cost you more than you realize. Every time you give in to easy, you delay the life you could have been living. Every time you skip the necessary, you stretch out the gap between who you are and who you could be. Discipline isn't about working yourself to exhaustion. It's about working yourself toward excellence, step by step, choice by choice. Not when it's easy, but when it's necessary. You can look at anyone successful, anyone who's built something strong, something real, and you'll find one thing in common. They didn't let ease decide for them. They chose necessity. They chose to do the things other people skipped. They stayed a little longer. They worked a little harder. They prepared a little better. They fought through the days when their feelings told them to quit. And because of that, they built something that others admire but few are willing to copy. Most people admire discipline from a distance. They respect it when they see it in others. But the ones who really win are the ones who respect it enough to build it into themselves. Not just once, not just for a season, but for a lifetime. Discipline isn't an event. It's a lifestyle. It's a choice you make every morning when you get up. It's a standard you carry with you through your work, your relationships, your health, your personal growth. Discipline is not just something you do. It becomes who you are. When you feel tired, remember, tired is not the enemy. Giving in is the enemy. When you feel bored, remember, boredom is not the problem. Lack of purpose is the problem. When you feel like quitting, remember, quitting on the necessary will cost you 1,000 times more than pushing through discomfort ever will. You have to decide what kind of life you want. The life of easy things and hard regrets, or the life of necessary things and real rewards. You can't have both. Nobody gets both. Life doesn't work that way. You can't eat whatever you want and be healthy. You can't spend however you want and be wealthy. You can't live however you want and have strong relationships. Necessary beats easy every time. And the sooner you live by that principle, the sooner your life starts to change. You don't have to be the best to succeed. You don't have to be the fastest or the smartest or the luckiest. But you do have to be willing to live by the principle of discipline. You have to be willing to say no to what's easy when necessary calls. You have to be willing to stay longer, work harder, care more when the average choice is to quit. And when you start doing that, day after day, month after month, year after year, you'll look up and realize something powerful. You became the kind of person most people only wish they could be. Not because you had it easier, but because you did what was necessary. And that is the greatest victory you will ever earn. Number 8, you either run your life or it runs you. Life is not going to wait for you. It's not going to slow down until you're ready. It's not going to adjust itself to your moods. It's moving. It's moving right now. The clock is ticking whether you act or not. That's why you have a decision to make. You either take control of your life or your life takes control of you. There's no middle ground. You can't halfway run your life. You can't manage your life casually and expect to end up somewhere you're proud of. Life doesn't reward casual. It rewards serious. It rewards the person who steps up and says, I'm in charge here. Every day you wake up, you have a choice. You can run your day, or you can let your day run you. You can direct your time, your energy, your effort towards something you care about, or you can scatter it in 1,000 directions that don't matter. You can build something strong, or you can spend your life reacting to every little thing that pops up. And if you don't decide, life will decide for you. If you don't choose your path, someone else will choose it for you. And they won't choose it with your best interest in mind. Running your life doesn't mean you control everything that happens. Of course not. Things go wrong. Problems show up. People disappoint you. Plans change. But running your life means you decide how you respond to those things. You don't let every difficulty break you. You don't let every obstacle throw you off course. You stay steady. You stay intentional. You stay moving in the direction you chose, not the direction the day is trying to push you. The people who win are not the ones with fewer problems. They're the ones who are better at managing themselves through the problems. They don't panic at every turn. They don't make excuses every time something's hard. They don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect mood. They show up anyway. They work through the resistance. They stay focused when others get distracted. Because they know the truth, nobody's coming to save them. Nobody's coming to live their life for them. If they want a better result, they have to take better control. And the way you run your life is not by big speeches or big dreams. It's by small disciplines. It's by getting serious about how you spend your hours, how you manage your habits, how you protect your mind. It's by deciding that your future is worth more than your excuses. It's by setting standards for yourself and living by them even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's watching. Especially then, if you don't have a plan for your life, you will become part of someone else's plan. If you don't decide what matters most to you, you will spend your life serving what matters most to someone else. And you may not even notice it happening. That's the danger. You wake up 10 years later wondering where all the time went. Wondering why you're not where you thought you'd be. Wondering why you're tired, frustrated, disappointed. And the answer will be simple. You didn't run your life. You let it run you. Running your life means thinking ahead. It means setting goals, not just having hopes. It means creating structure, not just reacting to chaos. It means choosing your values and building your schedule around them. It means protecting your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. It means doing the hard things when the easy way out looks tempting. It means making decisions today that your future self will thank you for. You cannot afford to live casually. Not if you want to live well. Casual living turns into casual results. Casual relationships, casual health, casual finances, casual dreams, and casual eventually turns into regret. Serious living turns into serious rewards. It turns into real progress, real pride, real satisfaction. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You became the kind of person who runs their own life instead of waiting for life to hand them something. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsible. It's about waking up every day with a plan, with a standard, with a commitment to yourself. It's about asking, what kind of life am I building today? And then acting in a way that matches your answer. It's about not giving your power away to distractions, to excuses, to other people's expectations. It's about keeping the steering wheel in your own hands. Some people spend their entire lives blaming their childhood, blaming the economy, blaming their boss, blaming bad luck, blaming timing, blaming anything and everything but themselves. But blame is a waste of life. It gives you nothing. It costs you everything. The second you start blaming, you stop building. And building your life is your job. It's not your parents' job. It's not your boss's job. It's not the government's job. It's yours. You don't have to control the whole world. You just have to control yourself, your habits, your decisions, your attitude, your focus. That's enough. That's where real power lives. It doesn't take perfection. It takes responsibility. It takes ownership. It takes the courage to say, I am the reason it gets better, or I am the reason it stays the same. When you live this way, life opens up differently. You stop feeling so anxious. You stop feeling so frustrated, because you're not waiting anymore. You're acting. You're moving. You're choosing. You're running your life, and you can feel it. That feeling of control, of direction, of purpose that's worth more than anything you could buy. That's what most people are really chasing without even knowing it. And the best part is you can start today. You don't have to wait for a better mood. You don't have to wait for more motivation. You don't have to wait for a sign. You just have to decide. You just have to act. You just have to run your life today. Even if yesterday you let it run you. Every day you get a new chance to take back control, to live on purpose, to build something real. You either run your life or it runs you. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Number 9, control your choices. They shape your destiny. Every day you are making choices. Small ones, big ones, quiet ones that no one sees, loud ones that everybody notices. And every choice counts. Every choice either moves you closer to where you want to be, or it moves you further away. That's the truth about life a lot of people miss. It's not one giant decision that makes you. It's 1,000 small ones. The ones you make in the morning when you wake up. The ones you make when you're tired at night. The ones you make when no one's looking. The ones you make when it would be so easy to take the shortcut. You don't have to live perfectly. You don't have to guess everything right. But you do have to live seriously. You have to understand that every time you make a choice, you are writing part of your future. Every yes you give to discipline, every no you give to distraction, every stand you take for your principles, every shortcut you refuse, they all add up. And what they add up to is your destiny. Destiny is not something you stumble into. It's not something that shows up one day by surprise. Destiny is built. It's constructed choice by choice, day by day. And if you don't take control of your choices, someone else will. Someone else's priorities will sneak in. Someone else's values will shape your schedule. Someone else's distractions will steal your energy. And before you know it, you're living a life you didn't design, a life you didn't ask for, a life you can't be proud of. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, by letting little choices slide until the gap between where you are and where you wanted to be grows too big to ignore. The good news is you can change it. Anytime. You can take back control. You can start paying attention again. You can start making choices on purpose again. You can start deciding that your future is too valuable to throw away for a few moments of comfort. You can start choosing based on who you want to become, not just what feels easy right now. Sometimes it's a hard choice. The choice to say no when everyone else says yes. The choice to stay home and study when friends are out having fun. The choice to wake up early when your body wants to sleep in. The choice to keep your word to yourself when excuses start sounding reasonable. But every time you make the harder right choice instead of the easier wrong one, you are shaping your destiny. Every time you choose responsibility over blame, action over procrastination, growth over comfort, you're moving closer to a life of real freedom, real pride, real strength. Nobody's forcing you. That's the point. You're free to choose. You're free to live casually if you want to. You're free to make choices today that you'll regret tomorrow. You're free to ignore the small disciplines that protect your future. Freedom gives you that right. But freedom also gives you the responsibility to choose better. And real maturity comes when you realize that controlling your choices is not a burden, it's a gift. It's how you build the life you actually want instead of just wishing for it. You don't have to control everything in life. You can't. But you can control your decisions. You can control what you focus on. You can control what you say yes to. You can control what you say no to. And that's enough. That's where real power lives. Not in controlling the world, but in controlling yourself. The big goals you have, they are built by small daily choices. The big success you dream about, it's built by small disciplines most people don't see. The respect you want to earn, built by the choices you make when it would be easy to take the easy way out. It's all connected. It's all inside the daily decisions you think don't matter much, but they matter more than you know. People think destiny is about fate, about luck, about waiting for something big to happen. But destiny is simply the result of 1,000 small moments where you chose to be serious, where you chose to be strong, where you chose to be steady, where you chose to live by values instead of moods. Destiny is not waiting around the corner. It's being built today, right now, by the decisions you are making. Sometimes you'll get tired. Fine. Watching. Sometimes you'll feel like giving yourself a break. And sometimes you should. But never give yourself permission to forget who you are trying to become. Never give yourself permission to lower your standards just because the moment feels hard. Keep the picture of your future clear. Keep the reasons for your effort close to your heart. And remind yourself that every little choice is a brick in the house you are building. If you ever feel overwhelmed, just pull it back to one thing: the next choice. Not the whole week, not the whole year, just the next choice. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to the life I want or further away? And trust yourself to choose well. It's one choice at a time. One small victory at a time. That's how destinies are built. You don't have to do everything right today. But you do have to take control today. You do have to live like your choices matter, because they do. You do have to understand that life isn't happening to you. It's responding to you. It's shaped by you. And the more you lead yourself with clarity, strength, and purpose, the more life opens up. Control your choices. Control your focus. Control your habits. And your destiny will not be an accident. It will be an achievement. One that you will be proud to live. One that you will be proud to look back on. Because you built it one choice at a time. Number 10. If you quit on yourself, you teach life to quit on you too. Quitting on yourself is not just a small decision you make quietly and walk away from. It's bigger than that. When you quit on yourself, you send a message to life itself. You teach life that you're not serious. You teach life that you can be pushed around. You teach life that you don't really mean it when you say you want more. And life listens. Life watches what you do, not what you say. And if you keep quitting on yourself, don't be surprised when opportunities stop showing up. Don't be surprised when things start slipping away. Because you trained life to expect less from you. It doesn't happen in one big moment. It happens the first time you make a promise to yourself and break it. It happens the first time you back off when things get uncomfortable. It happens when you stop pushing because things got a little heavy. And every time you do that, you're not just quitting the task, you're weakening your own foundation. You're teaching yourself that your own word doesn't matter, that your own goals are negotiable. And the more you teach yourself that, the harder it gets to trust yourself again. When you quit on yourself, you lower the standard for everything else in your life. Relationships, business, health, growth, they all start to suffer. Because once you accept quitting as an option in one area, it leaks into everything. Life mirrors your discipline. Life mirrors your commitment. Life mirrors your seriousness. It doesn't reward wishful thinking. It rewards steady action. It rewards follow through. It rewards the ones who mean it when they say they're going to make something better. You can't demand loyalty from life if you're not loyal to yourself. You can't demand opportunity if you keep walking away from the ones you already have. You can't demand progress if you quit every time it gets a little uncomfortable. Life is hard sometimes, yes. It's challenging. It demands more of you than you think you have sometimes. But that's not a reason to quit. That's a reason to grow stronger. That's a reason to dig deeper. That's a reason to stay steady even when the feelings tell you to stop. Every time you stay steady, you send life a different message. You teach life that you can be trusted with more. You teach life that you won't fold when things get tough. You teach life that you're not just dreaming about better, you're earning it. And life responds differently to that kind of person. It starts opening doors. It starts testing you at higher levels. It starts giving you challenges that bring real rewards if you pass them. But you have to stay in the game. You have to stay serious. Quitting is easy. Anybody can quit. Most people do. Most people don't even call it quitting. They call it changing their mind. They call it shifting priorities. They call it being realistic. But deep down, they know. They know they walked away not because they couldn't, but because it got uncomfortable. They know they quit not because it was impossible, but because it was inconvenient. And every time they tell themselves a softer story, they weaken their future even more. You don't have to be the strongest. You don't have to be the smartest. But you have to be the one who doesn't quit on yourself. You have to be the one who decides that your life matters too much to treat casually. You have to be the one who says, I may not be perfect. I may stumble. I may get tired. But I will not quit on myself. I will not teach life to lower its standards for me. When you stay with it, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, you're building something bigger than results. You're building inner strength. You're building trust with yourself. And that trust becomes the foundation for everything you'll ever achieve. People with strong self-trust move differently. They carry themselves with a quiet confidence, not because they have all the answers, but because they know they'll stay with it long enough to find them. And life respects that. Life honors that. Life tests everybody, but it rewards the ones who don't quit when it gets uncomfortable. It rewards the ones who keep showing up, not because they always feel like it, but because they decided once and for all that their word to themselves is not negotiable. If you quit on yourself today, what are you training yourself to expect tomorrow? More disappointment, more guilt, more frustration. And the longer you stay in that cycle, the harder it is to climb out. But if you stay steady today, even in a small way, you are training yourself to believe again, to expect more, to push more, to grow more. And the more you grow, the more life responds in kind. Your life will never be stronger than your commitment to yourself. Your opportunities will never rise higher than your discipline. Your achievements will never outpace your standards. Everything you want is on the other side of steady action, not casual effort. There's no magic moment where life suddenly owes you success. Life owes you nothing. But it offers you everything if you stay serious long enough to earn it. If you quit every time you feel tired, you lose the right to wonder why life isn't delivering more. But if you stay committed, if you refuse to fold, if you stand firm even when it would be easy to step back, you are building a future that even life itself can't deny. So remember, every time you're tempted to quit, every time it feels heavy, every time you think about stepping back, ask yourself what message you're sending. Are you teaching life to believe in your strength, or teaching it to doubt you? Marie, are you leading yourself toward the future you said you wanted? Or are you slowly giving it away for a little temporary comfort? You are always teaching life how to treat you by your choices, by your standards, by your discipline. Decide today that you will not be the one who quits on yourself. Decide that you will be the one who stays steady when others fold. Decide that you will be the one life learns to trust because you never quit when it counted. And if you live that way long enough, you won't just reach your goals. You'll become someone far greater than you ever imagined. And that's a future worth fighting for. Your future is not built by chance. It's built by choice. Full commitment is not something you try for a few days and walk away from. It's a decision you make every morning when you get up. It's choosing to stay with your plans, to stay loyal to your dreams, even when nobody's clapping for you yet. Self-control is the real advantage. It's what separates the people who just wish for a better life from the people who actually build one. So don't hand your future over to distractions, excuses, or feelings that pass. Take it back. Control yourself, stay steady, stay serious. The rewards are waiting for the few who decide they will not quit on themselves. You have everything you need to build a strong, proud, meaningful life. Now it's time to act on it. It's your move.